freezer, I come up with truly innovative and unique ways of using that creation. In today's cooking, I'm going to take a famed and soul-comforting, beautiful banana pudding and add some puff pastry to it. In short, I would call it a Banoffee pie going on a roller coaster ride. Let's get to creating it. Preheating the oven to 200 degrees Celsius is extremely important because you want the oven to be hot and bursting with heat as soon as this gorgeous pudding goes right in. Now in a pan, we're going to create the sauce that redefines a banana pudding, a cross between a banoffee and a pudding coming alive. So here in a pan, I've got about 2.5 tablespoons of sugar that I'm just going to let brown and caramelize. As we allow the sugar to melt and caramelize, let's get to creating our gorgeous English custard. So here I've got about 500 ml of milk going into my saucepan. To that, I'm going to add about 150 ml of full fat cream and about 100 grams of sugar just to sweeten this entire creation. Bring that to a boil, and in the meantime, let's get to creating the caramel as well as the thickening agent. A capful of vanilla going in. Work at the temperature so that everything really melts well together. So lower the temperature when you think it's getting too hot and just give it a gentle stir so that it just emulsifies really well and you get that golden brown color. Into this, we are going to add about 125 ml of cream just to create that gorgeous caramel sauce. Banana and caramel for me is like a match made in heaven. And as this has melted, I'm just going to allow it to darken a little bit more so that it gives that glorious color. As this has got nice and hot and you've got the desired color that you want to acquire, in goes 125 ml of cream. Now you have to be very, very careful because caramel is piping hot and the cream is just going to splutter if you're not careful in pouring it. So allow everything to emulsify with a ladle and just mix in and absorb the color together. As the color comes to the desired consistency that you want it to, you need some shine, and that shine comes in with about 25 grams of frozen butter going in just to blend everything well and give it that glorious finish and shine. I like to use salted butter, just giving the caramel that slight tinge of salt into it. As you've got the desired thickness and color, all you need to do now is switch off the flame and transfer this into a bowl ready to be used atop the bananas. As the milk, cream and sugar with that dash of vanilla has got nice and warm, in goes about 30 grams of butter, and we're just going to allow it to melt because this English custard is going to be rich, sharp and pronounced. As this melts on this side, we are going to get to creating the cornstarch and egg yolk emulsion that's going to thicken this gorgeous creation. Into 4 egg yolks go about 30 grams of corn flour, and we're just going to emulsify this with a whisk so that it forms a perfect thick slurry. When you're working in creating an English custard that's an egg-based custard, you have to be extremely careful because you will get a glorious scrambled egg emulsion. So as the milk has come to a near boiling temperature, you take a ladle of it and pour it into the egg yolk and corn flour mixture. Take one, take another one, just so that the temperatures are more or less the same, and you just go about whisking it so that it's warm. All you need to do is take this emulsion now and pour it in, and from this minute onwards, all we need to do is stir it on the slowest possible flame just till it coats the back of this spoon. So stir away, do not leave it, and ensure it is on the slowest possible simmer, otherwise you'll get quite a sweetened, scrambled, curdled mass out here. This thickens in about 2 to 3 minutes, but stir it continuously, and when it coats the back of the spoon, all you need to do is switch off the flame. Now comes the fun part of assembling it, putting the puff on top and just dunking it straight into that hot oven that we already preheated. Stopping the cooking process is extremely easy, and a shortcut out here is just fill your sink with some water and dunk this pot right into it so that it stops the cooking process. Stir it so that there's no lumps, and this gorgeous English custard is ready. The consistency is perfect, and the trick out here is the corn flour, which enables even a novice to get it right. All you need to do now is peel the bananas, and what I've done is I've allowed them to ripen a bit because I'm not cooking them, and technically a banana pudding always cooks this with a caramel. So here I've just allowed them to ripen to about a day more than what is desired to be enjoyed. And now comes to the part of just slicing this. So go right into a bowl and slice it. Random thickness, whatever suits you, fine. I like the bananas to have a little bit of bite, so I go at about 1/2 centimeter thickness. You can even go thicker, whichever suits you and your family, fine. So at times you can also cut it into dices or just long slices and layer them down. For me, this is the crudest form of a banana pudding that really enables star quality and takes on a banana pudding really in the best possible way. So just allow it to be as even as possible. And finally, on top goes that gorgeous caramel sauce that we created. So just go about it and pour the entire mix right in. Decadently pour the entire English custard on top. Allow it to go into the nooks and cranny of this, and at times you can also allow a little to be left behind just to add as that glorious sauce to accompany this pudding. Now we're going to allow this to set for about 5 to 10 minutes, and in the meantime we're just going to roll out the puff dough and put it on top and put it straight into the oven. A banana pudding, though old school and very soul comforting, is always created with bananas, some caramel, some English custard and some wafer thin biscuits forming the layers. You put a meringue on top and you bake it in the oven. However, if we are going modern, new age, new school, all we do is replace the wafers for a puff dough that I created in the earlier video that you'd love to make and enjoy. So here I've got about 150 grams of puff dough that I've just rolled out. We're just going to lightly flour the work surface. Roll it out into a circle and put it straight on top. Now, a puff dough for me is like gold in my kitchen, so I never waste anything. While I've taken a round and I've cut this dough to a perfect round, the sides I've created strips so out here just to create a garnish that goes on top of it. So here, with this perfectly created round, and it's about 3/4 of a centimeter thickness, we nestle it right on top of the pudding. 1 egg, lightly beaten, just to give it that egg wash on top, which will give it that gorgeous golden brown color. And it also helps the strips and squares that we created for the garnish to stick on the dough. So here we give it a nice, generous brushing of this gorgeous egg wash. And all we are going to do is now put these strips on top. So I'm just going as random in nature as possible, creating squares and molds. You can choose whichever takes your fancy. Giving it that old world charm with the squares and the pipes that we've put on top, I'm just going to give it a light egg wash as well. And this is ready to go bang into that preheated oven. 200 degrees Celsius for a good 30 minutes, and this is ready in a jiffy. Usually, if you do not have a puff dough, just go right ahead and create a short crust dough and have this pudding created. If you do not have that, go ahead, use some graham cracker or just use any cookie crumbs and put it on the top. These are various styles to take a classic, soulful and comforting banana pudding to the next level, just to elevate it. This is ready now. All we're going to do is take it out and enjoy it. A perfect meal to enjoy for the weekend, and it's so simple to create that it can be done in about 30 minutes flat. This pudding, though very old school in nature, has that perfect new age charm just with a crust on top. You can style it in any way that suits your fancy. This is a perfect dessert to enjoy hot, preferably warm, with some English custard or just some caramel sauce on the side. Don't forget to share loads of love by hitting on the like button, and as I always say, don't forget to subscribe.